everybody. Welcome to the Kimberly Cloud Show. I'm your host, Kimberly Cloud. So today we are going to be talking about Biden's regime and who possibly was taking care of his pardoning signatures, which was auto pen, and letting people into the country. You have to wonder who was doing it all this time. So let's get started. Okay. So today marks the day that I looked everywhere for the footage of Kristi Noem and Laura Ingraham interview. 5/20/25. Nothing. They even got the same clip, the loose clip that I watched, but they kept that part out. I could be wrong. It could be in there, but I don't see it no more. I just don't see it. So I'm trying to figure out, well, where is this footage at? Why is this footage being hidden? And like I said, I am so honored. If it was just for me, I am so honored. I know, you know, some things go in a shuffle and some things get not said and some things get said on TV that doesn't get said on YouTube because YouTube will flag it. So maybe that's what it is, but I am honored either way it goes, you know, because at that exact moment I got to see that footage. I'll look for it on here with you guys again, but I'm gonna wait to say my speech about what I wrote. I tell you what I did find out about the Biden administration. ODNI wasn't created until 2022. Now, Kamala Harris almost weaponized the DOJ system. She almost weaponized us. We couldn't have freedom of speech. She was about to take away our freedom of speech, where if we were talking on all 8 platforms, that would have been taken away. And it would have just been terrible. It would have been terrible. She was going to tax, like I said again, I seen it on TV. She was supposed to tax every company such as Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, or X, Instagram, Rumble, with taxes, fines, actually, if they find out that people are saying things that they feel, the government feel, is like information that is false, misrepresentation, disinformation, everything. She almost weaponized the DOJ system, y'all. So I wonder who was with the stroke of a pen working the actual Biden administration, because only the elites were allowed to see him and work behind the scenes with him. Other people weren't allowed to see him after the smoke and mirrors light went down. That's what the book says. I'm not going to say speaking of the book, because what I have to say about the book will come like later. What I do know is that there's a bunch of false information out there, like you know, scriptures that maybe elaborate on things, like they say, how the 3 horsemen is going to come back or whatever. whatever. You know, the Bible, we have to read the Bible, we have to listen to the Bible is real. But what if it was elaborated on a little too much? You got all these scholars that listen to it, but look at what we're going through now. I looked up, how did Kamala Harris weaponize the government before she left office? It pops up Donald Trump and what he was going to do, what Kamala Harris said he was going to do. At least 20 articles popped up and populated. That is sad. So imagine 50 to a century down the road, if that person that doesn't do their homework, what are they going to see? Are they going to believe it if a Democrat is in office? Just like my votes. I had 13,000 votes, and it just all of a sudden went down to 5. 10, 50, 100 years from now, that's if they keep it up. It's going to look like crap. It's going to look like it's the truth. People going to think that was what I got. Even 10 years or 5 years. They're going to believe that's what I got. 5,000 votes. The Democrats have power to alter stuff, and that's how they cheat. They said he's trying to weaponize the DOJ system and cut out Medicare. All lies. Like they told you that Biden was competent and sharp as a nail for 4 years. His prostate cancer checkups are all gone from the record. And the last time they claimed he got prostate checkup is 2014. So he put not only the nation, the nation at danger. He put not only the nation at danger, but he put himself at danger if he did not get checked for prostate cancer. He used to have sorry. Let me see if I can. Okay, that's thicker. So he used to have little marks on his hand, look like that they were running an IV drip to get him going. And and I feel bad. Hold on. And I feel bad for him. I do. But I won't forget what he did. Yes, I do feel bad that he has cancer, but I don't feel bad about what's going on with him. Because had he been up, perky, and running, he would have been the same type of Biden who sat up there and, you know, did scandalous things a lot towards the government, you know, did a bunch of stuff that was evil for the government. They would weaponize the government to fit their own purpose, and the higher ups that have all the money would pay for it, Oprah said she did not get paid to come on Kamala Harris's event when it was in fact true. Now, had they won, it would have been denied. But since Trump won, come to find out it's true that she got paid $1 million. All of them got paid. Now, think about this, an incompetent man for 4 years. An incompetent man for 4 years who sits up there and cannot function, and everybody else is taken from the goodie bag. Obviously, there was some type of deal between the media outlets and the hierarchy of the people that were close to him that told him them to keep a secret, to see if he can see how, this is allegedly. I don't want to go into what they said, but it's obvious what they did, because now all of them practically are cutting book deals. All of them. All of the ones who took up for Biden, who said he's sharp as a nail, he's hard as a rock, he's just this wonderful, sharp person, intellectual, very on point, smart, energetic. He said, F you if you don't believe him. This is the best version of Biden yet. Anything to win an election. They were raping him of his money. What was Jill doing during that time? We don't know. Maybe she was enjoying the luxuries with Kamala Harris. If that was my husband, I would tell him to give up. He won. He has this prostate cancer. To know that he won and take it easy. But you risked having Kamala Harris run, and she was in the process of weaponizing the DOJ, which means we all would have been hurt. Because like Kristi Noem said, like Miss Noem said, people have people watching them. Like, this isn't fiction. I watched it on my TV screen last night. It was streaming. I don't watch the regular news. I have no cable. Now, what's even disturbing in a good way is that they recorded the streaming, or maybe they recorded the cable, and it was streaming up until a certain point, and then it just did not film Kristi Noem's part to cover her. So I'm wondering, why didn't it show? I fast forward the whole footage, the whole 58 minutes of the footage, and it is not showing of last night's footage. What came out of her mouth is not in the exact words, but she said when she first, she's been with Trump for a while, and she said that once she started moving up in the ranks and started traveling through government planes and stuff, they started watching her. ODNI. And I don't know if they put her on a terrorist watch list or what. but they put her on some type of list that she found out. And she was very livid. She says she's only traveling with her family. Why is she on a list? That means that she has two marshals following her. And these marshals watch her, and if she ever get in trouble, they cannot do anything. Just like when, I think it was her wallet got stolen. And they took everything. So yeah, she's the head of Homeland Security. But then she said something that was shocking to me. She said Kamala Harris was doing it for every civilian. That's how she was weaponized. She found out that Kamala Harris was doing it to every civilian, especially Republicans, to watch them and see what they're doing towards the campaign, if they're taking up for Trump, what they're saying, where they're going, everything. And it was crazy because Kamala Harris knows. She knows that that could be illegal, what she did. That they all got pardoned. Let the auto pen tell it. I wonder who actually had their hands on that auto pen when Joe Biden was incompetent enough to actually sign it at the time. If you have rapid cancer like that, which I'm pretty sure they're going to aggressively attack that cancer and help them, but if you have rapid cancer like that, I watched my mother go through cancer, I watched my mother go through cancer. And it was like so hard. First she can talk, and then she was in a coma, and then she was dead. I was the only one that cried mostly. Everybody else fake cried. They just wanted to see the woman's body to see if she was really dead. Even her closest sisters. If they really loved Nadine, they would have sat up there and they wouldn't say I act so much like her. Like that's a bad thing. But back to the story. 4 years he was deemed competent. 4 long years. And some of us knew, even the Democrats knew. The good Democrats didn't know what was going on with, you know, Biden. They knew what was going on with Biden, but they was trying to say get out of the race and he's incompetent and all that stuff, but nobody would listen. They milked it for all it was worth. And then they wrote books. I just can't get over it. The people that were closest to him, the assistants, the everybody, And I wonder if that's the same thing that's going on with Bob Ferguson, that the assistants, whether man or woman, is keeping my messages from him, and they actually regulate what he does, just like Biden. Because when I was writing Biden, because if I wrote Biden and they got the message and they wanted to inform Biden, they would make it sound like I was a terrorist or I was just some ghetto black girl asking for money or asking for attention. And then I would be known as a terrorist, just like the father of a dead child. And one guy had the nerve to say, get over it. One anchor man had the nerve to say, get over it. We're moving forward. We cannot move forward, even with the Lake and Raleigh Act. We cannot move forward until you all take some justification and honesty, have some honesty about you all self. Everything y'all do, you want violence, just like the woman, the African American woman in the red and white shirt, that's a senator. You know, she's going to jail. All because she wanted to be big, bad, and bold. She wanted to show off for the cameras and get a little spotlight and look good. She had a nerve to sit up there and hit ICE, federal agents, like she can get away with it. And then gets on live camera talking about, I didn't know what I was doing. They hurt me first. She made herself look ghetto. She couldn't even restrain herself. On national camera, it showed she was the aggressor. And yet she said she didn't do what ICE did. So you can't take a bunch of words. So anybody that tells you how they feel, you're going to hit. You shouldn't be a senator then. They will eat you up in the chambers where they interview people about different major topics. They may even interview you about it. Now, I dwell on these 4 years because let's say he did it 4 more years. 4 more years. And before I talk about 4 more years he could have done, the prostate cancer files from the doctor that he had were missing. Bush's, Trump's, and Obama's was right out there in the open, but his were missing. So 4 more years with prostate cancer hidden. Is that how we do? You just say you want 4 more years and you get 4 more years. It reached your bones. You lied to the nation. You all lied to the nation. What else are you lying about? You said we were liars. Everything Trump said was a lie. Everything anybody in the Republican Party said was a lie. And now come to find out everything he said was the truth. and you all can't take it. You want to move past it. We cannot move past it until you apologize. Apologize for what you did to Trump. Take some ownership and apologize. But you can't. The people are never going to forget this. The people are never going to forget this. How you manipulated them to believe you. How you said that the videos that Trump administration were putting out were Photoshop and cheap fakes. Wasn't none of them cheap fakes. Every time I reached out to him, something bad happened to me. I wrote Kamala Harris on the White House website 3 times, and I wrote him 3 to 4 times. But I'll never forgive Biden because I know he has some knowledge of me. And so did Kamala Harris. That's why she started weaponizing the DOJ. Every website was going to get fined. Every social media site was going to get fined every time somebody said something that the government believes to be misrepresentation, disinformation. He has his hand on that button, that missile button. He had his hand on the missiles. At any moment, he could get disoriented and say, I want to push a missile. And they'd be like, what are you saying? I want to push a missile. And he's talking about missiles. And they would have to abide by him. Or the person that was actually in control, which was a couple of them, would say, no, Biden, go back in your room and drink some milk or go to sleep. Because he would sleep half his campaign. So when Kristi Noem said that Kamala Harris was weaponizing the DOJ, having a marshal follow, or 2 marshals follow civilians, contractors, and many more people, everybody practically, especially targeting Republicans. They would make the Republicans' lives hell. I knew I had a hit. But you know what? I can't find that footage for nothing. So I don't know what to do now. But it's an honor being able to hear it last night. So that's your president. With your president had y'all, some of y'all did vote for her for LGBT and all that good, good stuff, Mexicans and all that, and you are being followed. And I think you're still being followed because that part of the branch has nothing to do with the president. I don't know if that's true or not. I would have to see. I don't know if that's fact or not. I tried to look up so much information, got literally nothing. But I believe Kristi Noem, she wouldn't get on. She showed the picture. That's how I learned about ODNI. There's NSA and then ODNI. I don't know if this agency is connected to the government where it takes orders. It has to take orders. Other than that, Kamala, it was in 2002 it was created. So Kamala Harris was getting this government to do this to people, which means they did it to me when I tried to run for presidency, which means I was right. They are the ones that did this to me by putting something in my tincture, probably paid somebody off to do it, like methamphetamine. It's easy to pay people off. All people care about is money these days. All people care about is money. You can see the journalists. They already make enough money to live amongst means. And yes, and yet they're creating books off of that old man. They couldn't wait for him to expire first, laid to rest peacefully. It's just sad. It's really sad. It's very sad. They all trying to get, like, just imagine a bunch of wolves and you got a big cut on you, or you're in a control area with a shark and you're partially underwater in a cage and you have a large gash that's just bleed gushing out blood and the shark is becoming agitated, or you're in a gated area where the wolves can't get in but they're hungry and you have a gash and they can smell it, and they're drooling out the mouth making these weird noises. you know that's exactly what's going on with these journalists. That's how they were around him. And now that's how they really are showing how they are, period. They just want the money. All these news anchor men and women, they can live beyond means. They live beyond means. So why write a book? Unless you're trying to be greedy. Oh, this book gonna sell. You took all of his weaknesses and you turned them into a book. How nasty, malicious, benign is that? It's just sick. But yeah, I just had to say that. You know, that pen, that auto pen, is what pardoned Hillary Clinton and the rest of them, Hunter Biden and the rest of them. One person said, "Can we move the F past this?" He was so outraged and livid. Chuck Schumer said, "Let's move past it." Okay, Chucky. But somebody, a news anchor man said, "Can we move the F past this?" I'm like, no. No, we can't move past this. Because it was your job to you're a journalist. You are to put out the correct information, not get hired by the Democrats to put out false information and gaslight 300 to 400 million people in the United States of America. You gaslighted them. I knew it wasn't the truth. I kept saying it wasn't the truth. I call it like I see it. And it really, really happened. If y'all look at the records, White House administration, after Nancy Pelosi came back from China, not China, sorry, excuse me, Taiwan, he really started to fall in his decline. I remember watching it. China said those who play with fire will get burnt. Russia said he started to shoot down her plane. So maybe he did get burnt and they just don't want to admit it. So just know, y'all, know you guys, know that if this is something that cannot be changed by Trump and Kamala Harris, it's a permanent thing created by Kamala Harris, seeing that she was vice president too, and she made some changes around too, then this is possibly a permanent thing. I don't know. I was listening, trying to absorb everything Kristi was saying, but I couldn't absorb everything. But I know what the basis of the whole conversation was about. And I know she said that two marshals follow civilians. They wanted everybody to be watched, or they have everybody being watched. Either or. And it's all your famous girl fault. So I'm not trying to throw out like false information. I even tried to find it again and I couldn't find it. Let me see if I can find it now. Hold on. This is not the same one. It is the exact same one, and yet I don't see her. Come on, put it back on the band. Oh, I have to show y'all. I have to show y'all this because it just shows what scumbags they are coming out with book deals. So it's just not word of mouth. I'm not going to watch the whole thing. Let me go here. Biden campaign. Blinken orchestrated intel letter to discreet Hunter Biden laptop story. This was done 7 days after I was arrested. They would. Like she said, if you couldn't hear her, if they had a chance to do it all over again and lie to the public about everything, about his health, about everything, they would do it again. And I agree with Laura Ingraham. ABC News, March 21st, 2021. He said, do not come. The border is secure. The border is closed. This is Homeland Security Secretary. Really? Did y'all feel like some of y'all feel like that? That it was actually closed? I didn't feel like that. Fox News didn't feel like that when asking people that were senators and congresswomen and men, why are people coming in the border? I do not like this guy. I really don't. Don Lemon is a bad, bad man. This is the one that said, can we up and move past this? It's one thing like JFK to have like a back problem, a severe back problem that's going to get worse. Or he only did 4 years and he didn't barely do all of that because of what happened. He expired way too early. Somebody shot him in the head, which we know who did it, you know, Oswald. But um Biden, this is dementia. This is bone, something about his bones, the cancer moving to his bones. And then he's still saying he want to be president. Watch how Megyn Kelly gets him real good. He tries to be all nice and try to swoop her up, and she don't want to hear that crap. She goes in for the kill. You know, all these other videos I saw, but that one footage I can't find. I'm sorry. The reason why it's not on there, this is the Megyn Kelly show, is that everybody was taking their own the same clips, showing it, but it may be on there. Let's see. He said, even though you look 30 years younger than me, we're still the same age. He didn't have to say that, but he was saying that for cover to make sure, you know, she be on board with the next thing she has to say. And boy, did she say what she had to say. Him right there. He is crazy, 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 crazy. I want y'all to hear what he got to say, man. I remember seeing this live or seeing this when it first came out. Oh my God. The best version of Biden ever. You got to be kidding me. He was at his worst then. And he made it look real good and gaslighted. How many people you think were watching his show? How many people you think were watching his show? If I was so naive, because there's so many naive people out here, I would have actually believed it. If I didn't, if I was independent, I wasn't, because I'm independent and I look up information, but Trump, what he needs to do is he needs to, by law, take down all that information that Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and the rest of them put on them, because that's false information. Because, like I said, 50 to 100 years down the road or more, somebody's going to get to reading that and they're going to believe it. Just like him. When a Democrat get in the office, they're going to do the same thing again. Now he told on himself. First he said he didn't see it. Now he said he seen it. Just so sad the way they did, man. He signed thousands of pardons. I thought it was just a couple. It was thousands. Like I said, I I didn't hear everything, you know. I was writing. He said they attacked and attempted to ostracize those that questioned him. And I always question the Biden administration. I hashtag them. That goes through cybersecurity and up the ranks. How do you think the people that sit up there and say, I want to blank, well, KILL the president, that goes up the chain. So if you're talking about, hey, look, president, I need you to help me, please. You know, that's messed up. F you. I'm saying F you. I'm saying all types of stuff except for threatening him. Except for threatening him. The same reason why those journalists are kicking him while he's down. Those are your friends, right? What you're saying is twisted and double sworded. It's not in my rearview mirror, Don Lemon. It is not in my rearview mirror because all these assistants made my life suffer, and they're the reason why I went to jail. I guarantee it. He's still saying they saying lies. During this time, I went to the bathroom because I didn't want to hear her talk. And you know why? Because even though I didn't have to have my dad get checked for prostate cancer, I know why she was on there. Once I seen the people that were involved that were on there, I said, yeah, they paid her to say that. CBS just said Biden's life was not worth saving. That's crazy. You know what they want, which is sad? It's the same thing that they do every time. Every time Trump comes up with an idea, they come in like when he wanted to build the wall for $5 billion. They said no. But this Ukraine war has cost plenty of money, like billions, like in the hundred trillions, like probably close to a trillion, if not a trillion or more dollars of American taxpayer money. The same with the big beautiful bill. They know it's a good thing and they don't want to look good. They don't want him to look good. So they're going to resist it. They don't want him to look good. Chuck Schumer don't really care, but he has to look like he care, you know, for Nancy and the rest of the parties, you know, because he's just doing what a Democrat would do. He's just, he still does snakely things, but, he's not as bad as Nancy and the rest of them, you know. Especially when she was House Speaker during the time that Trump was in office the first time. You know, it was just sad. It was really sad. They got into a huge argument right on camera. And they were saying they are the ones that knew the Mexicans were coming in. And they, for some reason, must have made an undercut deal with the Mexican government that it's okay for the Mexican people to come through our borders. So that's why they told Trump no. They didn't they wanted, to let it go through the Senate or the House, whichever one. I don't know the difference. I should know the difference. I'm still learning, and I'll look it up after I get off of here, but he said it can get through fast through the House, but the Senate, he said he needed 10 votes from Democrats. So the Senate is the second place it goes to. Um, so yeah, so this big beautiful bill has a lot of tax cuts in it, and now they're trying to scare and lie to the American people once again and talk about Medicare be cut and Social Security be cut and all that crap. When in actuality, we just gonna have to wait and see and listen to Trump. Just like we had to wait and see and listen to Biden. Just like we had to wait and see and listen to Obama. Just like we had to wait and see and listen to all the other presidents, Clinton, everybody. But he wants to make history. So why would he mess up his history by lying? You know, this guy deserves whatever Hollywood puts towards these actors. This guy right here, Vanity Fair, Brian Steller, he made me believe him. He said it so good without a stutter, without a flinch, none of that. He just said it with authority. Sorry, sorry, I forgot to say it, Gutfield. Whoopsie poopsie. Whoopsie poopsie. uh-uh. Oh. You know, usually when you go to events, before you go to the event, you actually rehearse for that event. And I don't think because they wanted him so enwrapped and trapped in their claws that they did not even have him rehearse. And I don't think it would have mattered anyway, him rehearsing. Stupid. Whoopsie poopsie.
Never waste my time. You